2025 Aston Martin DBX 707 First Drive Review. No more excuses. New tech, an updated cabin, and revised chassis tuning bring Aston's SUV up to speed. 2025 Aston Martin DBX 707 Front 3/4 banked. View 23 photos. The concept of a super SUV is fundamentally a celebration of excess. Vast size and weight require vast amounts of power to deliver serious performance. Making an inherently utilitarian vehicle platform feel special requires a more deliberate approach than is typically needed with a low-slung sports car. Normally, this would seem to be at odds with Aston Martin's modus operandi, which has traditionally been more subtle and understated than its European rivals. If our tester's roaring V8, vivid synapse orange paint, and equally citric Californian poppy semi-aniline leather interior are any indication, change is afoot in Gaydon. Originally launched in 2021, DBX quickly became Aston's best-selling model, and it's enjoyed a significant blow-up in the few short years it's been on sale. First big change came with the introduction of the DBX 707 in 2022, which saw the SUV's AMG-sourced 4.0-liter V8 outfitted with a new pair of turbochargers that elevated output from the standard DBX's 542 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque to a lofty 697 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque. Paired with a 9-speed wet-clutch transmission, the upgraded all-wheel drive powertrain delivered a 3.1-second sprint to 60 miles per hour on the way to a 193 mile per hour top speed. Combination proved so appealing to buyers that Aston put the standard DBX out to pasture, leaving the DBX 707 as the only version available. This, despite the DBX's base price consequently rising to $253,000, including the $4,000 destination charge. Second significant step forward comes as a range of updates for the 2025 Aston Martin DBX 707. Though it's not a sweeping revamp of the DBX formula, the changes strategically address the few shortcomings present in Aston's sport utility vehicle. The result is a genuinely thrilling, charismatic machine that no longer comes with substantial caveats attached. We won't fault you if you're struggling to identify the changes to the exterior, though. Aside from 5 new paint color options, Epsilon Black, Helios Yellow, Sprint Green, Malachite Green, and Aura Green, plus the addition of Podium Green, which was formerly exclusive to the DBX 707 AMR 23 edition, and a couple of new wheel finishes. Satin black for the 23 inches Fortis wheel and copper bronze for the 23 inches forged wheel. The updates consist of minor tweaks. It enjoys a new one-piece rear spoiler, powered door handles that now present themselves when the vehicle is unlocked, new swivel head door mirrors that feature integrated cameras to support the DBX 707's 3D parking feature and a redesigned Aston Martin badge on the hood. Now that means it'll be tough for most to spot this as the automaker's latest and greatest at a glance. We can't fault Aston Martin for choosing not to mess with a good thing. Brashness and anonymity have both become hallmarks of the burgeoning super SUV class thanks to vehicles like the Lamborghini Urus and Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT, respectively. The DBX 707 manages to cut a compelling figure without resorting to extravagant flourishes in order to get the job done. It's a success story that DBX chief engineer Andy Tuckley attributes in part to the SUV's architecture, which, unlike the Cayenne and Urus, is bespoke to the DBX. In terms of the platform, everything is our own, we're not sharing it with any other manufacturer, Tuckley said. The key benefit there is that it allowed us to set the proportions of the car ourselves. Biggest changes for 2025 are found inside. 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster now resides behind a new flat-bottom steering wheel, while reshaped door handles, vertical air vents on either end of the dashboard, larger veneer door panels available in a variety of new materials all contribute to a noticeably more luxurious and performance-oriented cabin. Centerpiece, however, is the DBX 707's new infotainment system. For years, Aston Martins have consistently lagged behind their rivals in terms of in-car technology. The automaker previously turned to Mercedes-Benz to provide its infotainment tech, but Mercedes was unwilling to give Aston Martin access to its latest hardware. That meant Aston's offerings were saddled with infotainment systems that were already at least a generation behind by the time Aston Martin got its hands on them. Worse, they actually weren't that great when new, which is why the outgoing DBX 707 suffered from a lack of a touchscreen, underwhelming visuals, lazy response and no wireless Apple CarPlay support. That era is officially over. First seen in the DB12, the DBX 707 now sports an all-new in-house developed infotainment system that features a 10.25-inch touchscreen with impressive visuals and fast response, along with support for wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Aston says the system will also support the next generation of Apple CarPlay further down the road, which promises to tap into all of a given vehicle's screens for a more comprehensive experience while still allowing automakers to put their own distinctive spin on its presentation. New infotainment setup is a quantum leap from its predecessor and goes a long way toward making the DBX 707 feel thoroughly contemporary. Aston gets additional points for resisting the current industry trend of abandoning physical controls wherever possible. Center console offers a handsome layout of buttons for often used features like exhaust mode and damper stiffness, while the knurled metal dials used for functions like temperature and fan speed feel substantial and of high quality. Though the hardware underpinning the DBX 707's sinewy bodywork remains mechanically unchanged for 2025, Aston Martin made some changes to the calibration for the electronic dampers and air springs to increase transient body control in response to customer feedback. That was welcome news to us, as we noted during our time with the previous model that the chassis didn't seem as pinned down as some of the DBX 707's rivals. Given its ferocious powertrain, the Aston's tendency to bob around when hustled at higher speeds eroded our desire to explore its dynamic limits. As Tuckley explained it to us, the revamped calibrations react quicker than before. So while the nose of the SUV may dive to the same degree as the outgoing one under heavy braking, or the body may ultimately exhibit the same amount of lean in the corners, Damping ramps up sooner during those events. In practice, the changes will likely be imperceptible to DBX 707 owners the majority of the time. Though the new calibrations affect all of the drive modes, GT, Sport, Plus and Individual, one of the benefits of this approach is that the comparatively supple ride quality of Aston Martin's SUV remains unchanged during everyday driving. When you're really going hell for leather, the DBX 707 now feels noticeably more composed and comfortable. Reassuring sensation of weight transfer is still there, but the reduction of excess body motions results in an SUV that feels eager to tackle corners rather than simply willing to do so. It's still not going to outhandle an Urus Performante, but it's not going to abuse its occupants with a punishingly stiff ride, either. Besides, the real party piece here is still the beastly twin-turbo V8, which sounds particularly incredible with the active exhaust valve set to full song. Moves the DBX 707 along with the same shocking urgency as before. Now it doesn't feel like the reason to overlook aspects of the DBX 707 that formerly fell short of expectation. After a few years of gestation, this DBX feels like a fully realized performance machine, a super sport utility vehicle that requires no apology when placed alongside what the rest of the world has to offer. Sure, it's a little excessive, but that's kind of the point.